Hi friends, it's week 2 of summer school, and summer splash is what Ms. Dyer and I are calling it because it's school, but we're trying to make it fun. And I'm excited about this. I learned a lot this week that I hadn't really known before. We're going to look at connections, which I love connections. If you remember, you've studied text to text, meaning if you're reading a story and it reminds you of another story, or you're reading an article and you refer to another article that's about the same thing, or maybe a text to a movie, a text to a song. So there's that connection. Text to self, where you can relate to it. Oh, I remember when I did that too. Or I remember when I was traveling to Alaska, or well, mine would be Africa, and I saw those things that they're talking about. Text to self, and then text to world, real life. This text that we read last week, the power line. All right, true confession. I remember accidentally shocking myself when I was a kid, and we lived in England, and the voltage is different, and it's a lot stronger. And I don't know if you know what these are, but electric curlers, I think they're coming back. You know, there are curlers that warm up, you can curl your hair. Well, mine weren't working. And my dad's an engineer, and I thought, well, I'm an engineer's daughter, I can fix this. So I get a screwdriver, and I want to take the curlers apart. So I start unscrewing with the metal screwdriver into electric curlers that I did not unplug. So there's still a current charging through there. Had it not been for the lucky fact that my screwdriver had a rubber handle on it, I only got shocked a little bit. I would have been shocked a whole lot worse. That was pretty powerful. I remember. So that's my text to self connection. I remember not being careful around an electric source and kind of hurting myself. And I'll never forget. I can't look at a screwdriver with a rubber handle or a set of electric curlers in the same way ever again. I can go right back to where we lived in England, to our flat, where I was quietly trying to fix that without telling mom and dad. I also learned something new. I don't know if you did or not, under the power line safety. This part right here, how it's important to shuffle if you're in an area where there's a down power line. And with the storms we get around here and in certain areas, I live in April Sound, where all the power lines are buried under the ground, so that I feel it gives me a sense of security. I'm not near one that falls, but there are other places around that it can fall. I can remember being a little girl not being told, don't fly your kite around the power lines. You don't want to get tangled. But I thought it was very interesting that with one foot up, when you bring it down, then that causes. But if we shuffle, there's not a place for that connection to be made. Another place that I'm very aware of not talking on my cell phone is when I'm filling my car with gas. A lot of people ignore those safety signs, but I'm a rule follower. So you will not see Mrs. Wilson talking on the phone while she's pumping gas in her car or around a down power line, because then that could make a connection. So there were a lot of personal things there. When I read this, did you see this word imperceptible right here? It's not a word I use all the time. I stop and think for half a second. Let me look at that. So I used my Caesar's English skills, and I broke that big word into smaller words, right? So when I did that, I am before a word usually means not, like impossible means not possible. So I knew that M right here meant not. So this is something that's not possible. Percept, I know that your perception, that's how you perceive things, how you're made aware of them. And then the suffix able means to be. So to not to be able to see. So not to know. So the way this sentence was known, it says, in real life, the energy flowing through a downed power line may be imperceptible. Meaning we can't see it. We can't see the energy that's there till it hurts us. Kind of like this coronavirus. imperceptible. You don't see the germ, but we know it's there, right? So we're wearing our masks, we're washing our hands and being extra cautious to stay healthy. So imperceptible. Maybe find a way this week that you can use the word imperceptible. All right? That would be interesting. Our story this week is a graphic novel excerpt. I am so excited. Now, I have to be honest, graphic novels were never really my favorites. When I was a kid, we would have called these a comic book. And now they're called graphic novels, I guess because they're bigger. I went to Target yesterday and just looked through the kids' books and looked at some of the graphic novels. They were more for like junior high, and also didn't find one that I wanted to get. They didn't have a large selection. But there are specific features to a graphic novel, and it has specific terms. And let me tell you what a few of them are. All right? So if it's a feature, it's a description. If it's going to feature something, it's a description of something. And here they're featuring electricity, a shocking tale. The squares, the pictures, are called panels. Panels. Then you have the gutter. This is the space between the panels. And that's called the gutter. And the purpose of the gutter is because as you read this, your mind, your thoughts, your schema is to fill in what's happening between this panel and this panel. So you have your feature, you have your panels, and you have your gutter. You also have the speech balloons right here. We've used those before. You have the narration box. That's this up here, where it's as if a narrator pops in to tell you something. And then you have the onomatopoeias, the sound effects. Let's see if they have one of those in this. I'm sure they do. Yes, right here. The zap, the sound effects. So there are 6 elements of a graphic story that you're going to learn in here. I'll include this anchor chart at the end of this reading video so that you can remember the terms when you're creating your own graphic novel, which I know some of you do. There have been some kids pass through our classrooms that are great graphic novelists. And through their expertise with the graphic novel, I am becoming more appreciative of this genre of graphic novels. As you read, see if you can make a connection with any of the characters, and then see if there are any character changes from the beginning of the tale to the end. Maybe the main character has a change that he goes through. Maybe he learns something about electricity that he'll remember forever, as I did with my curlers. Maybe I could practice making a graphic novel of the story of my experience with the curlers and the screwdriver. Who knows? I might. I tell my kids all the time, I'm not the artist, but I can doodle and write words. So I might try it. Or I could write the story and one of you make the graphic novel. There'll be an assignment on Benchmark for you. Unit 10, Week 2, quiz over graphic novels. But until then, have fun reading this. Have fun identifying the different parts of a graphic novel. Make your connections and find words that you can break apart into little words to discover what they mean. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.